me point out a few things on these PowerPoints. Skin and mucous membranes, those are the biggest, the number 1 and number 2 in physical barriers. Make sure you compare skin versus mucous membranes, and make sure you understand this dendritic cells. This may be new. Dendritic cells are part of our immune system. They're considered a physical barrier, but they are a cell that can actually phagocytize pathogens. Remember phagocytosis, where cells are eating them up, killing them, and then spitting them back out. And we'll talk about that they'll save a few pieces and present them to the adaptive immune system, which is our third line of defense. So we'll get back to that too. So make sure you understand how dendritic cells work. Again, this is non-specific, so anything that's foreign, they're going to do this too. Okay, so reviewing skin, and there's your picture. Dead skin cells. Always compare skin and, oh, well, here's some other things. All right, so chemicals in the skin, perspiration, salt, dermacidins, lysozyme comes up. You should have reviewed where lysozyme, we've heard this before. Lysozyme destroys cell walls of bacteria, and we remember that viruses use lysozyme to do that. So we also have this defense mechanism. Again, keeping our skin intact is the best physical barrier we can do to protect our body. All right, so physical barriers, number 1 is skin. Number 2 is mucous membranes, very similar. They also have these dendritic cells. They also have some other specialized cells called goblet cells and ciliated columnar cells. If you reviewed any of that, goblet cells help make the mucus, that make it that sticky, so the pathogens and any bacteria will stick to those cells and can be phagocytized by other cells. Ciliated columnar cells actually have cilia and they sweep. So they line our respiratory pathways, these ciliated columnar cells, and have these cilia that are constantly sweeping pathogens back out, or any bacteria, any foreign invaders. Remember, this is innate. Doesn't matter what it is, it's foreign, we want to get it out. So these ciliated columnar cells line our respiratory mucous membranes, and they are continually sweeping pathogens back out. Mucous membranes are more likely to be bypassed by pathogens than skin. Skin is a great physical barrier. Mucous membranes line the inside, but because they're moist, because they're thinner, because they're already inside our bodies, a lot of pathogens use that as a portal of entry, a way to get inside. That's what we're so worried about with this COVID-19 and our respiratory droplets and inhaling those from other people who are infected and then getting into those mucous membranes and doing that. Okay, so lysozyme shows up again, some other chemicals that are involved. Make sure you do a comparison of skin and mucous membranes. What's pros and cons with each and how they work together. All right, the third thing, the third physical barrier is the lacrimal apparatus. You've probably seen this as well, but this is our tear. Every time we blink, that makes a difference. We also have lysozyme showing up here. And this is like when you get something in your eye and your eye starts watering. This is your body's physical defense. We're trying to get rid of any foreign objects, sand, whatever, and any pathogens or any bacteria that may be on that. So that's the lacrimal apparatus and how that works. The last one, and this one does not get mentioned a lot in other courses, so we really want to make sure that you get that in this course, but our normal microbiome. And our microbiome is defined as our good bacteria, the bacteria that are with us, that we keep at all times, and we have a lot of them. This is our normal microbiome in our body. This bacteria may be foreign, but our body has decided it's not worthy of an immune response. It can live with us. It's a symbiotic relationship, and it can live with us. And that's okay, because we know that a lot of this bacteria does good things for us. We've learned a lot more about probiotics. We've learned about how it works with our immune system to help defend us against the guys who are really bad. So our microbiome are the good guys. They are physically taking up space in our body, in our gut and other places throughout, and they will take up space, and that is a physical barrier to other pathogens coming in. So our microbiome is also a part of this first line of defense and considered a physical barrier. It competes with potential pathogens. Our microbiome is taking nutrients from us, which is fine. Taking up space so that when a pathogen comes in, it has to compete for space and for nutrients. Sometimes our microbiome can create an environment unfavorable to other microorganisms. And we talked about the female vaginal region in chapter 6 when we talked about growth and development. We talked about as women hit puberty, their estrogen levels go up, which is a different nutrient source, and the bacteria lactobacillus can colonize that region. It's in there anyway, but it can support a larger colony. Lactobacillus, that bacteria produces acidic end products, changes the pH of the vaginal region, and this protects us against other pathogens. So this is a way our normal microbiome, can create an environment unfavorable to other microorganisms, and that helps us out. The other thing, again, being exposed to bacteria, harmless bacteria, helps our immune system respond and helps train our immune system to identify the ones that can be a problem. And then gut bacteria, they undergo their own metabolism. They can provide vitamins and lead to a healthy host. So all of those things are part of our first line of defense. There are some, this chart is good. It also points out that not only these areas, but some of the discrete secretions are involved with protecting us. When we have defecation and vomiting, you get infected by a virus or something that's causing vomiting and diarrhea. It used to be they'd want to stop that with medications, and now as long as you can protect against dehydration, go ahead and vomit. Go ahead and let that diarrhea work its way out. It's part of our body's way of eliminating these microorganisms. Same thing when you cut yourself and it bleeds. That will help push those microorganisms back out. So these secretions are also involved in protecting us. So make sure you go through those and understand that. Menstrual flow, vaginal secretions, urination. After sexual activity, they tell women to urinate, and that again pushes any microbes, microorganisms that may have been introduced out. All of those things are helpful for that. Okay, so that is our first line of defense. Go through, review if you need to, and make sure you understand all of these first line physical barriers. And in the next video, we'll pick up with the second line, and then we'll talk about what happens if it gets past our physical barriers and it gets inside. Okay, thanks guys.